We'll move this out the shot though. Try centre it. Yeah. And should we do a little walk in and sit down?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to do it now?
Or one of you can walk in.
You should walk in. I think you should walk in.
I'll walk in.
Oh. Yo, I'm Pat. One half of Two Man Step.
Sorry. I didn't know you were going.
Hello, editing.
Come closer, bro. Like you literally, so it's like one step in.
Cool. Yo, I'm Pat. One half of Two Man Step.
And I'm Ben. This is the Two Man Step podcast, weekly football show. Fucking cunt. You heard me sit down. We'll do it again. Quick. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. No, you're okay. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yo, I'm Pat. One half of Two Man Step.
And I'm Bet. Fuck! I did it close again. I need to remember. Okay. It's because I keep just going into that, forgetting that's what I did. Hey, sorry. We'll do one more. Let's go.
Yo, I'm Pat. One half of Two Man Step.
And I'm Ben. Welcome to Two Man Step, a brand new weekly football show here on Tev Sport.
That's
boom. Chat to him nice. We got it. That's it. 100%.
Just in Grimms Park fighting hay fever. Didn't think it was gonna get me this year, but I had to invest in some, you know what I mean, some medication for it. Get the tablets, get the little nasal, you know what I mean, get the eye drops, protect yourself, you know what I mean, at all times, people. You have to, you know what I mean, you have to take care of yourself, fam. Things are out to get us. And it ain't easy a lot of the time. But you know what I mean, if you do a bit of research, you find something that works for you. Because I thought I was cooked. Puritan, bro. You ain't got Puritan. You already know, fam. But there's other brands that you might see, you know what I mean, in the supermarket. It's easier. And you know what I mean, you invest in these things and they don't even work, fam. And it end up being a waste of your money. So more time, it's better to just, like I said, man, take the time, do your research. You know what I mean? Get the proper things, man. It might cost a little more, but it'll be worth it.
Okay, so obviously Two Man Step's just going to be me and Pat chopping up football, walking through, South East London, where we live, where we're from, the hometown. Come on.
Shout out.
Sometimes we might get a little bit of grub when we're feeling a bit pequish or whatever, but most times we're going to be talking football on a two-man step, literally, is the point. Trying to bring maybe a dynamic view to football podcasting. Obviously, we'll have stuff like this. Don't film the kid, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? Do not. Okay, so we're going to start with grading each team's season, just very quickly. We're not going to go in detail about it. Like I said, we're going to try to give a season review, give you a comprehensive analysis from just two blokes walking down the street. So I'm going to start you off, Pat, with Wolves. What would you rate Wolves' season? They finished 14th, 46 points.
I think with Wolves, if you added the context, obviously 14th might sound a bit like not the best season, but with the context added, I think they've had a good season. Gary O'Neill's first managerial season, and I think he's done well with the players he's got, such as Cunha, new signings like João Gomez, who I think has impressed in big games. So I think as a grade, I'll give them a C.
Yeah, I'll give them a C. Maybe a C plus.
C plus, yeah.
Yeah, feels their shit though.
Yeah.
Probably a similar sort of grade there, C plus. I think it's fair. Looking into next season, they're already rumoured that he's not going to have much money to spend. Yeah. It's unfortunate for them, but I think they're going to for me, Wolves are very like an iconic Premier League team.
You think?
They're not iconic in like iconic away like a Newcastle or a Leeds might be, but they're a Premier League side for me. Yeah, if I have 20 teams in the league, Wolves are in it. Yeah, no. And I'm happy they're going to stay. I don't think they'll go down next year either. Yeah, no, obviously, horror things could happen.
Because it looks like they'll probably have to sell a few players.
Yeah, Neto. No. Okay, let's go on to Bournemouth, Gary O'Neill's former side. Yeah. Obviously sacked him at the start of the year. Iraola's come in. Sort of this new generation of Basque region football managers.
Shout out Teto.
I would say I think I'll give them a nice comprehensive B, maybe even B plus.
Where
They finished
again?
12th in the end,
Okay.
but there was a point in the season, maybe a couple of weeks ago, they could have finished slightly higher. But for
Yeah.
Bournemouth to finish 12th, Bournemouth are not a Premier League club. Like I said about Wolves, they're the
Yeah,
opposite.
They're the opposite.
Bournemouth are very tin pot. So for me, I would say that's a massive season for them. Deals, there's more shit. It's just shit everywhere. Okay, back to Bournemouth. Yeah, I think Iraola, there's a project there. I think with Palace, they could be one of them dark horse teams that sort of push that maybe those Conference League and
Conference
Europa
League,
League
yeah.
spots next season. But we'll move on to let's wheel off a couple of these sides.
quickly.
Forest, I'd give them a D.
D. Yeah.
What would you say? What you
I'm not really the biggest fan of Forest as a club, to be honest. I wanted them to go down.
Owner's a bit cheeky and
Yeah,
he's a
owner's
bit mouth,
cheeky,
but
yeah.
believes in his own hype. Obviously, rich guys do have that sort of like unhinged self-confidence. But
yeah,
I didn't like the calling about the cheating. I understood where it was coming from.
Was that against Liverpool?
No,
Okay.
not that one. The one about the Luton referee against Everton.
Yes.
Obviously,
yes,
the decisions were horrendous. Don't get me wrong, but I can't help but feel like sort of integrity you got to keep as a sporting institution.
Yeah.
But all the referees,
The referees, we don't need to
state of
speak
them.
on
We'll
it,
get onto that a bit later. Let's go Brentford.
Ooh,
Poor season again. They finished 16th.
I'll say D as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd give them a D. Obviously, they had Tony out till January. I can't help but feel like, again, they're a team that in the next few years could be looking at quite a few relegation scraps.
You think?
Personally, yeah. I don't rate them. I don't rate them at all.
I don't rate Brentford, but I think the only reason why I think I can see them staying up for a couple of years is that the way they built their club and how they got up.
Yeah, sustainable side,
Yeah,
similar to
sustainable.
Brighton. I just can't help but feel like this year they looked really like uninspiring in their football. They weren't the same sort of side we saw in the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
Or they've only been up for a season, haven't they, before
Yeah.
this?
But
second.
Tony's been.
Yeah,
I
Tony
think
was
yes.
injured, but I do think surely he goes somewhere else. Like surely
I
Chelsea,
think now I don't really think
Spurs. I could see a Spurs.
a Spurs move maybe makes more sense.
Even a
but
Newcastle if Isak leaves.
maybe, but I feel like he has talked himself out of the big clubs, like
Yeah,
the big
'cause
transfer.
He does a lot, doesn't he? He does a lot. I don't really like it.
Does a bit.
He's dying for it. Do you know what I mean?
You
It's a
think
bit.
he's dying for it?
Yeah, it's a bit cringe. It's a bit cringe.
It's a
like,
bit cringe sometimes.
what he's
but
doing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wheel off Brighton. I'm gonna say Brighton
D.
D.
Yeah.
Higher expectation. Finished 11th. They finished below their biggest rivals, Palace as well.
Yeah.
Who obviously had a sensational end to the season. Palace finishing 10th. I'm gonna give them a B. Maybe a B plus. Let's go B plus.
B plus. New manager's done well. That new manager bounces.
But the thing is, it wasn't a new manager bounce because
To be fair, it went-
they were stale for a while. They
Yeah.
lost. They lost a couple of games. They drew quite a lot, I think, when he first came in, and then obviously, last few weeks they've absolutely ripped it up. Mateta's turned into prime R9,
Tucked in.
bald head. He's
Bald
got the
head.
whole shebang.
I rate it.
He's
Cockpit
killing it.
celebration as well, like Firmino.
Yeah, and then we'll go West Ham, C,
Yeah, see,
below
where
par,
they finish?
9th. It's not like you can't expect West Ham to finish much higher. You look at the teams who are
but
going to
with-
finish
with
above
the
them.
players- with the
Yeah, but
players-
who's finished above them? Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. Is West Ham? West Ham are about 9th in the league in terms of where
they're
they should be.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like with the players that they have, such as Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, I feel like I do believe I do agree with West Ham fans sometimes where I think they should aspire for more with the players that they've got, and hopefully the
I think
new
it's
manager.
cheeky. I think it's cheeky, Pat.
think-
There's no way you can tell me. Okay, I understand. The sides above them, Man United are crap.
Yeah.
Newcastle are pretty average. Chelsea are sort of pulled it together at the end of the season. I think a lot clubs need to pinch themselves a little bit. They won a Conference League last year.
They did win a Conference League last season, but you got to respect their ambitions because obviously that's what all clubs hope for. I know it's West Ham, but with the players that they've got and the money they've spent, I think they should aspire for a bit more. And I'm not really impressed with the new manager they've got. I feel like they could have got someone better.
And considering they had a 6-point deduction, they would have only finished one space higher in 14th ahead of Wolves. I'll give them a C. Considering their previous years, they've been crap. They're not a good side. They're a big name. You need them in the Premier League, obviously.
I think that's the Liverpool bias coming out of you there. I think I'd give them a B, to be honest, because I think with what they've been, with the circumstances they've had, I think they've handled it really well. Sean Dyche has been done amazing job, in my opinion. and I think B is a good rating for them. And I think next season, I think the new stadium's coming in. I think is it next season?
I'm not sure. It might be a year out. No, I think it might be. I'm not sure actually.
I feel like Everton fans should have some hope for next season, and you know what
100%.
they had a good season, and they were part of stopping Liverpool's title charge.
That was a dark day. I just stared. After that second goal went in, I literally just stared at my phone
Yeah, I think
in the pub for like the last half hour of the game. Didn't look at the screen.
yeah.
And then just got a fuck ton of shots.
Shout Everton for that. Shout out Everton.
Shush. anyway, Pat's ruined the vibe. We haven't done Fulham either. Fulham, again, I think they could be in trouble next season. I think they're a club that don't look very good. Obviously, Muniz has been a bit of a standout player.
Shout out Muniz.
And I think he was unlucky not to get. He's still young enough to be in the Young Player of the Year award?
Muniz.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't think they're that inspiring as a team.
Yeah, I think they're like a C club, if that makes sense.
They're a C club. They're where they are, but I think in the next few years they could be in trouble. We're looking at a side. I don't think Marco Silva's especially talented as a manager. I think they got a couple of players.
Palhinha's
Pereira's tidy.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I'm not that impressed. Maybe the centre backs. Adarabioyo.
I think he's going. I think
Adarabioyo.
Yeah, I think Fulham in general are a C club, and I think it's just nothing really exciting about them right now. Sorry, Fulham fans.
Yeah.
Stop doing tricks on it.
I can't help it, man. Just too cold, man. Look at that.
You see that? Yeah.
So we'll go to the relegation clubs now. Obviously, all three that came up went back down. I think Sheffield United especially, they weren't ready to come up. They weren't a side that expected to come up the previous year anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a depressing state of affairs when you see all three come up, go back down like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a damning indictment of what the league is becoming. That wide gap between the rich clubs or the bigger clubs and the smaller clubs. Like you look at Sheffield, they could barely spend any money.
Yeah.
They came up, sold their best player to Burnley.
And
obviously
to Marseille, what's his name? Ndai?
Iliman Ndai. So I think in that sense they didn't have much hope, and I don't think if you spoke to a Sheffield United fan they'd be overly disappointed. But they have got to be probably one of the worst Premier League teams ever.
Oh no, 100%. Sheffield.
I think there's record second lowest points or something like that in the Prem.
Over 100 goals, I think.
First team to concede over 100 goals.
Crazy, to be honest. But as me being in the city, my uni city, Sheffield, it was a bit dull, and it just hasn't been a good season. Compared to when they got up, I feel like when they got up, even people were just like questioning about them being promoted and how good they would be in the Premier League. And I think we've just seen it this season. They've been a shambles, and every time you go to Bramall Lane, you just know you're gonna score a couple goals.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have fun.
Burnley again. I think Burnley and Luton can hold their heads high as they go down. I think Burnley especially, there was higher expectations for what they had to offer to the league. To walk the league in the Championship like they did, and then to come here and put up a pretty weak fight, I would say.
Do you think that they should have changed up their style of play?
Yeah, I think you saw it in Norwich a couple of years ago. Teams that come up, try to play football. It's just never going to work. You're never going to be able to. You haven't got the quality of player. So we're back to what we were saying. The gap between the financial state of each club from the top to the bottom of the league is so big, but it reflects in the quality of player they've got.
Yeah.
You look at the players Luton and Burnley had. First of all, obviously Burnley's squad is very young.
Yeah.
Luton's squad very inexperienced at this level. They were never going to be able to compete for a full 38-game season.
To a team like Nottingham Forest, who spends
Exactly, Nottingham Forest.
a lot of money.
But that's where we change our sort of valuation of each team's season, because you would argue that they put up quite a good fight to keep it down to pretty much the last day. I know it wasn't quite the last day, but close enough. I think they can be proud. I don't think they'll come back up. Burnley might. I don't see Luton coming back up.
I think I see Luton coming back up. I think I can see them coming back up. I think out of the three, they were the ones that put up the best fight. We saw against the bigger teams when people went to their home stadium. You saw people struggling. Arsenal we had to score last minute. Declan Rice.
Yeah, Liverpool struggled.
Liverpool. You guys
we drew there. I blame that partly on the pub I was at. Every time I go to the same pub, Liverpool never won, so I don't go there to watch Liverpool anymore.
Was that when you guys lost the Champions League final?
Champions League final, Arsenal game a couple of years ago.
Damn.
Lost to Leeds, when we lost to Leeds 2-1. I was watching it in there.
Yeah,
Dark
it
times,
is
dark times, bro. But no, I think the relegated clubs, Sheffield United, sort of set themselves aside from the other two, and that be less proud, but also probably had less expectation for the league season. I think if you compare Luton's expectation to how they ended up, I think they can be very proud
very
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Sheffield, stay down. We don't want you back up.
So, little change up of scenery. Thought we'd come off the path.
Cheeky one.
Uh,
What are these called?
Daisies, bro.
Daisies.
Bro. Man United, I think I'm giving them a D.
D. I'm on to them.
Potentially even E. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's
not,
embarrassing.
The season's, it's not just how they performed, it's the way the club's gone about it. The club's in shambles. The whole Jadon Sancho situation. He's now going to go to Borussia Dortmund. He's got the opportunity to win the Champions League in London, local. It's just a mess from top to bottom. Obviously, the takeovers happened, but even Jim Ratcliffe, it looks like he's paying a lot of lip service to the club, trying to just like do a lot, sound good, not really execute things well. They've had this whole thing with Dan Ashworth where they still haven't actually got him yet, and now they've sort of put out there that they're getting him, so they have to get him, otherwise the club just looks a mess again. They play crap.
Facts.
They had, granted, I'll acknowledge they had injuries. They did have injuries, but they had something like one more injury than Liverpool, and Liverpool have ended up significantly higher.
But I'm not on to Ten Hag, to be honest, because this guy, as an Arsenal fan, he keeps mentioning that Arsenal game in every time in these interviews, saying, "Oh, if we won against Arsenal, that would have been the change of like the way they play." And the Garnacho goal was it was onside. I just feel like in his interviews, he's just waffling every time, and
he's a real yapper. He's a real yapper,
and I don't like him. But the fact that I don't like him, and he
means you do like him as Man United manager. There you go.
I like him as United manager
because I cannot stand Man United. Everything about that club,
the
fans, the ground's a mess. Oh my word! Couldn't even get on the waterfall of Manchester, or whatever they were calling it.
It's not United fans that we don't hate. It's Peckham Reds.
Peckham Reds. To be fair, we don't know anyone from Manchester really.
Exactly, we don't know
well enough.
I'm not going to say Manchester. Peckham Red fans, I'm on to you because you guys
real-time
yappers. Real-time yappers. And I feel like this is your time, because you did, to be fair, our childhood was slightly ruined by yours. Like, obviously, the 8-2, and I don't need to speak about that. But this time, they need their time, and I'm happy it's happening right now.
I think as well with United, they've got to basically rebuild the club from top to bottom. You've seen Liverpool already, with Klopp leaving, they've already started bringing in Michael Edwards back, and then he's got a whole recruitment staff. You see the difference in the structures of the club and how they're operating, as opposed to Man United, who just like everything they do seems like a PR mess.
Facts.
And everything they do comes out in the press, comes out negatively.
Yeah.
If they do sack Ten Hag, I wouldn't say there's much other long-term project options though there to build with. Potentially De Zerbi, potentially Potter.
No, I'm not really. No, I think they need to have. I think De Zerbi, I think he's got that character to be at a big club. I think the problem that United and other teams have is that they get managers they're good managers, but sometimes to be at the top.
The club's a graveyard, I think. The club's a graveyard. That's why I don't think Tuchel should go. Even though Tuchel's got this thing about winning the Champions League recently.
He's a good tournament manager, to be fair, Tuchel. And I'll be, if he goes United, I won't be worried, but I'll be like, oh, they could do something here. Don't you think?
Maybe for a season or two. There's no long-term threat there at the moment. If they get I think they need to get a manager they can build around and let him implement his sort of philosophy and style into the club, as opposed to a manager. That's why part of me thinks they should keep Ten Hag. Let him cook. Give him a couple more years. What do you think? Where did Arsenal finish in Arteta's second season? No, I'm not comparing.
Yeah, no.
I'm not comparing. I'm not trying to wind you up. I mean, genuinely, where did they finish in Arteta's second season?
No, 8th. But the only reason why I don't like the comparison, because the context is way different. It's completely different. You got guys that in his first 3 seasons, Ten Hag spent way much more money than Arteta did. Arteta inherited a bad side. We had Socrates, David Luiz, Rob Holding.
Yeah, they're not great footballers.
Chambers.
They're not great footballers.
And I think United.
I wouldn't say Man United's side's much better than that. The only player in that side who I really am like rating, two, Mainu and Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, you
Bruno
like,
Fernandes.
You like Bruno Fernandes.
He's a good player. Come
You
on,
know,
you
he
can,
is a good
you
player,
can see
but-
when you can see like it's fun to slander, and maybe he's not at the level that people once said he was, with, like the Erdegaards and the De Bruynes. But I think you can see when he plays and when he doesn't play, there's a stark difference in how
No, he puts up
how they
numbers,
look.
and those numbers can be effective. But I think Bruno, I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest. I just don't really like the guy, so I can't. I'm his
Personal
hater.
vendetta.
There's a personal vendetta.
Okay, I hear it. I think on the leadership front, he's not good at that.
No. But obviously they do have Manu. I still think Lisandro Martinez is a
Tidy player.
Is a tidy player.
Yep.
And even though Onana with the memes, they are funny.
Okay, sitting down another change of scenery. That's what two-man steps about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chopping it up, walking about different scenes.
Facts.
Some days we'll be sitting down the whole video probably, but
Maybe.
who are you to care? Who are you to tell us we can't do that?
Yeah.
Realistically, you're just our friends and family that are probably watching this anyway, for the time being.
Nah. It'll be more. Don't worry.
Chelsea though, Pat.
Mhm.
Season of two halves, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. I think second, actually.
Well, no, you see,
Yeah.
why I would call it a season two halves is because you look at the first half of the season, there was evidence of what they were trying to do, but I don't think the squad was, there wasn't a cohesive squad. I don't think maybe they'd bought into what Pochettino was trying to do at the time.
Yeah.
But I think as the season's gone on, Cole Palmer's gotten better.
Yeah, facts.
I think if you look at that 2024 record, it's like they've lost 2 or 3 games in the league. And it's bad losses, albeit 4-1 at Anfield,
Arsenal.
5-0.
Arsenal, yeah, battered them.
And they were embarrassing losses. But aside from that, it's been a far more productive second half to the season than they've had in the last 18 months. And I think if you ask me, I'd give them a C- to 6th in the league. Is where they finished. 6th in the league, behind a Tottenham project that looks promising, an Aston Villa project that looks promising, and 3 sides who are significantly better than them. I don't think you can really blame them for where they finished. They've got a young side, albeit again spent a lot of money, but I think that's teething issues they're having that will soon sort of peter out. I think eventually I think that'll be a good side of Pochettino personally.
I think I might be a bit harsh on them, but I think I'll give him a D+ because
Oh what?
I'll give him a D+.
Oh sorry, I thought you said a B.
No, a D+ because
I'm not mad at a D+.
I think even a D, to be honest, because I think Chelsea's a big club, and I think before the season started, I think everyone thought, Chelsea might do a little something with the money they spent and the signings they spent. We expected at least top 4, I think.
100%. I think maybe I've bought into like
The end of the
Chelsea.
season.
Yeah, and the end of the season, but also Chelsea. They haven't been there for 18 months to maybe like temper their expectations to an extent.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me, a new manager comes in, it's never going to be plain sailing at the start of the season, regardless who they got. Last year they were horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous. They've now got Europa League unless Man United win the FA Cup.
I thought they'd all go if United win it.
No, I think it's weird. I think they take Conference League
Oh, okay,
if they win it. And Newcastle drop out, I think that's the case. But I think if you look at the players they've got, Malo Gusto's had a promising season, especially when players like Reece James hasn't been there, non-existent, obviously due to injury. I think the promise there's promise in the midfield.
Yeah.
Fernandes and Caicedo.
I'll stop on Fernandes because I think when they've done their run, Fernandes he's been out, and I think their best performing midfield is when they have Caicedo, Gallagher, and somebody else in the midfield. And you've seen that Caicedo recently. I think he's stepped up.
100%.
Got the dyed hair now.
Different. Players with dyed hair, you've got to be able to cook as well. Otherwise, everyone's looking at you. Graham Souness is going to kill you.
Yeah, facts. Saka done it. Didn't work for him.
I think Chelsea. I don't mind Enzo. I think they're still promised there. He's been crap. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're still promised there. Player of his stature and how Chelsea are playing. Obviously, the player of the season is Cole Palmer.
Yeah, facts. He's like surpassed what I thought he was going to do at
100%.
Chelsea. But at City, I've always thought Cole Palmer was a good player, but it was just competition.
Tottenham, a bit of a sour end to the season for them. Obviously, it got a bit embarrassing as well with the whole Ange beefing their fans.
I rate it, by the way.
Didn't look good, but I think everyone outside of Tottenham can also, take our tribal hats off and sort of look at that and say, he's got a point. You shouldn't, if when you're building a project, you've got to overlook the tribalism and the passion of not wanting Arsenal to win league. By the way, I think the fans are completely right to feel like that,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
completely feel Ange is justified in what he was saying as well,
yeah,
because it is very Tim Pot at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm not calling the Spurs Tim Pot there, but
no,
you
they are,
understand what we're
they are.
saying.
Say it.
I wouldn't say they're Tim Pot.
No,
They're
they
a
are.
solid sized club.
I think I don't care if that's Arsenal, but they are Tim Pot. I'm a bit salty about how the game ended with Man City. I am. Son is supposed to be one of the best finishers in the league. I think he's one of the best finishers in the league, and obviously that 1-on-1 miss was a bit sad. But I think with the Ange thing, I do agree. I think his frustration. I think we heard that it was with the club staff members where they were joking. I think he's come from Celtic, and that's a winning team, winning mentality.
Yeah, in the past
Yeah,
decade,
yeah,
they
so,
obviously had the dominance.
No, I definitely agree with, and I do agree with the fans. I get it. You don't want Arsenal to win the league, but
You see both sides of the
you
argument,
know, I do,
basically.
but yeah,
On the wider picture of Spurs, though, you look at their season as a whole. It started so promisingly. Obviously, they brought the families out when they
early
cheated
by the way.
Liverpool out of a win.
Was that your
That was
game?
when they brought the families out.
I thought, and then the other game when they
doing parades.
when they done the hold their hands.
I don't
thing,
mind
when
that. I
they
don't mind that
of
though.
course you would,
That's galvanising a squad, galvanising a fan base. As a season as a whole, it's another similar to Chelsea. There's a project there that the players and fans can buy into. They definitely need to freshen up the squad. Ben Davies,
Ben Davies,
got to go. A player like Richarlison, Emerson Royale,
yeah.
they got to go.
I think
finishing fifth. If you told them at the start of the season they're finishing
with
fifth,
Kane gone.
you had Paul Merson as well saying they're going to finish bottom half. Miles off it.
Yeah, miles
They've
off.
had a great season, I think, for Spurs and where Spurs should be. Talking about expectations, I'd give them a B plus.
B plus.
I'd give them a B plus.
I'll stick with that B plus. I think that's fair. So Villa had a fantastic season, finishing fourth. I think before the season starts, everyone thinks Villa's gonna finally take the step to become a top four squad. And in previous seasons, we've seen that it hasn't happened for whatever reason. But this season, they've actually done it, and I think Emery's done an amazing job. Through that process, he did beat Arsenal twice, which is a bit of a sting, us being his former club. But
He actually took the league away from Arsenal in doing that.
he did. I'll say that. On the Sunday, 2-0 when he was at home, he put a
He's
masterclass
got Arteta's
performance.
number.
Yeah, this season.
And to be fair, one thing I got annoyed with Villa is they've got amazing support, but their limbs at the Emirates was they were sensational to watch. I was obviously pressed about the Liverpool Palace game.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But when I watched those limbs,
God.
I love watching limbs as long as it's not against Liverpool, and that was enjoyable to watch. That away end limbs was different gravy. I think as a team, they got a promising side. Interesting. Leon Bailey sort of came back into the side, and somehow removed Moussa Diaby as like a starting player in their side. That's something I found weird because obviously
Diaby signed in.
Bailey left Leverkusen to basically get away from Diaby,
Yeah.
and then he would have been pressed probably when he came, going,
It happened again.
it's happened again.
Yeah.
But he stepped up, and he's had a
stepped
top. He's been proper for them. Stepped up proper for them,
Real
and I
hard,
think
man.
you can. He's a player with him and Ollie Watkins, players they've hung their hat on. Douglas Luiz, McGinn, stepped up big time.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's someone you see drop off next year. They've got a lot of
No.
money. Let's acknowledge they've had a lot of investment,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they'll invest again. I think they'll do better than Newcastle did. Obviously, Newcastle are the group of death.
I don't know. It might get to them. Maybe they might perform better, but maybe next season they might be a drop off in terms of the league. Maybe they
Potentially, but they've already balanced
Yeah.
European football. They've already balanced the schedule.
Yeah. They balanced it. Yeah.
Yeah, with obviously being in the Conference League this season. So
Yeah.
I think that's almost they've gone progressively just very well into the top four.
Yeah.
We'll quickly touch on Newcastle because we didn't do them.
Disappointing season, I think.
Yeah, they finished 7th.
Yeah. But I think from last season they've expected to grow on from that, and then obviously they took a step back this season. But obviously they've got a few stand-up players like Isaac, who I do want at the club. Also with I think Isaac and Gordon, Anthony Gordon, who's done really well, and I think is pushing for maybe a bigger move.
Get him to the Reds, man.
Yeah, as he's a Liverpool
Boyhood
graduate.
fan.
Yeah, boy
He's
club.
twerking for it in Gary Neville interviews.
Was he?
He's dying for it, saying my favourite footballer is Steven Gerrard. Everyone knows what that means, bro.
But do you think he'll make that move though from Everton? That's a bit.
He doesn't give a shit, bro. They chased him out of the club before he left. They chased him out.
Did they chase him, or I
You
thought
not
he,
see
I
when
thought
they,
he was
like,
going for it. I
or
thought he was pushing for the move.
blocked him in. Yeah, but what I mean is they were horrible to him when he was leaving, when they were playing crap.
Oh yeah.
And there was rumours of him leaving. I think with Newcastle, I do think it's a disappointing season, but you got to take into account this is a side. All right, 2 years ago in relegation battles, they were horrendous. They were miles off it under Steve Bruce. A lot of those players are still there, okay. And I think to finish 7th this season with Eddie Howe and the players they've got, I'd still say they shouldn't finish above Man United on paper.
Who?
Newcastle,
On paper.
especially when you think about they had this takeover and they haven't been able to utilise the funds from that. Obviously, that's a wider issue with the Premier League, but I don't think. If you were to ask me if they've been fairly treated with how these FFP have suddenly been enforced on them, the restrictions, I wouldn't say it's fair. Obviously, Tonali, there needs to be a
I forgot
serious
about Tonali.
inquest into whoever recommended that signing at the club
Yeah,
and
no,
whoever said this is the guy, because how they didn't know as a scouting department, as a transfer department, a recruitment team about his betting addiction and
But-
the case going on is massive oversight.
Massive.
Massive oversight.
Italian football players are on that though. They're on the betting thing.
Yeah, but they all knew it apparently.
Yeah.
Everyone knew about it.
Oh, they knew. Yeah,
That's why they
that's
sold
cool.
him. People suggesting he might even go back. I don't think he will, but I think if you look at that first game of the season, or first few games he played, he looked
good.
terrific little player.
Yeah.
Harry Redknapp with press.
I think
but
Italian players in the Prem, it rarely works. It rarely
looked
works.
good. He
But
looked good.
But he did look good.
him and if they keep Bruno, if they keep that side together and can reinvest a little bit, they do have to sell players now.
Yeah, facts.
If you had to sell, if you taking your Arsenal hat off,
Yeah,
if you were them, who would you be willing to sell out of the bigger names?
Bruno or I don't know. I forgot. They're around at the same age. I think I might be wrong on that.
Who?
Bruno and Isaac.
Yeah, that's between like 23
I think-
and 26.
There's a release clause with Bruno. I think I don't know if they'll get if somebody will do that a release clause. I think it's around 100 million. I think selling Bruno might make sense because I feel like it's really hard to get a striker.
But their
Isaac.
midfield's crap.
Huh?
Their midfield's crap.
It's hard to get a
Longstaff's miles off it. Willock's always injured.
Yeah.
Joel Linton's tidy, but he's
Mm.
obviously had a massive injury, and there's rumours they might sell him as well.
Yeah, but I think it's hard. I think it's hard for to get a quality striker like Isaac in this day and age. And I think Isaac is it's just you've seen what he's been doing this season. I think he's just exceptional. And I think if they lose Isaac,
I think if they lose Isaac or Anthony Gordon, they're in massive trouble.
they're in massive.
They've
massive
dragged them
problems,
through
yeah.
games. They've really hung their hat on them in certain games this season.
Yeah, shout out Isaac, South London.
Onto the top three. We'll start with Liverpool. I think if you told Liverpool fans the end result of their season, and this is as a Liverpool fan, I don't know why you're laughing, considering basically a brand new midfield, and
Excuses are coming out.
it's not an excuse, Pat. It's not an excuse at all. I say a brand new midfield. How poor they were last year. They were poor last year.
Injuries though, injuries.
Injuries have damaged the side this year. I think if we were to look at it and go, okay, you end the season with third place. I think it was 7 points off first. I think it's a 15-point better off than last season, or even 25 points. I can't quite remember. 3 places higher, or 2 places. Where did we finish? 5th, I think. So 2 places higher. I think it's a massive improvement. What's made it worse is obviously Klopp leaving.
Yeah.
Klopp leaving's added the pressure of trying to win the league when we were in a good position, 100%. And I think if you have to have Klopp here next season, people are going, okay, Liverpool can push for the title. That's where this team is. He said it yesterday that he thinks this team now he's leaving it in a good place, and it's because he's leaving it in a place that's early on in a process. You know, it's not a team that's sort of fading away. If he left in the summer, it very much would have been that, but he sort of reinvented the squad with a new midfield. Brought in players like from the academy, Kwanzaa and Bradley, who have stepped up massively and proved to be of Premier League quality at the very least, I think. Both of them were unlucky not to be in the Young Player of the Year discussion.
Yeah.
But on the whole, with Liverpool, I will acknowledge that your expectations, they change throughout the season. And that April period, as a Liverpool fan, was horrible to watch. It was depressing. And the players just looked miles off it. In all fairness, at times, I think sometimes they looked run into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the injuries had definitely had an impact. And I think, as well, you can look at games like if that Doku penalty gets given. I'm not like, listen, Liverpool didn't deserve to win the league. That's not what I'm saying. If that
But
Doku penalty gets given, I think you go into the following games
Arsenal win the league.
with far more, potentially, but you also go into the following games with far more momentum
Yeah.
and belief that you're going to go on to win the league. I don't think you falter away like we did at Old Trafford in the cup or in the following game where we didn't finish our chances.
But do you But do
No,
you
go on.
think prior to that there was already question marks of
100%. That's why I
how
don't
you guys
think.
are winning the games?
Yeah,
So even though if you guys did win, maybe the question of how you guys were winning the games was going to catch up eventually.
100%. Similar to Arsenal in the previous season.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Nunes last-minute goals at Newcastle and Forest. Trent against Fulham and home. Harvey Elliott at Palace, just to name a few. 100% we weren't performing to the high expectations of a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool side. One thing I want to point out is that a lot of people suddenly started blaming this person or that person. I think as a
Think that
team,
was amongst your fan base?
but that's
Oh yeah.
obviously
Darwizi, sorry.
Nunes didn't play great. I think Diaz didn't play well. I think the Salah criticism
I think that's a bit forced. I think that's just agendas.
forced, but also there was justification to it. His finishing was miles off. It's still, even yesterday, he just looks like when he has a chance to shoot, he wasn't the calm, composed Salah that we knew.
Yeah.
But I do think people were complaining about how he played. I think if you look at Salah's performance in a lot of those games where we did lose, Palace, Everton, even the West Ham game, he's put the ball on a plate for Nunes and Diaz numerous times, and they've missed sitters. And that's just, everyone always says it, to win the league title you got to have a top striker. I think if Arsenal had Isak this season, like they're talking about maybe signing, you're looking at a side that probably wins the league, because earlier on in the season they put games to bed that they didn't put to bed.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty much a perfect transition into Arsenal's season. So if you want to,
So wait, what would you grade Liverpool season?
of course,
Before we go.
B+. I'd give it a B+.
I'll give it
There's no way you can give it a C.
no, I was not gonna no. chill. I think I'll give it like I'll give it a B+. I agree, maybe a B
And again, you got to take into account temper your expectations.
throughout the season.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
change. And the start of the season, third with a League Cup would have been a good
Yeah.
season.
But you was
Silverware's
screaming
what
that he was
football's
gonna win the
about.
league.
Sorry?
He was screaming that he was going to win the league.
Who?
Who else?
Well,
Well, we can move on.
it wasn't on camera, so
We can move on.
it didn't happen.
We can move on to Arsenal. We had, I don't know, we had a good season. I think we can't deny that. We've got a few players that stepped up this season. Saka, Odegaard, the new signing of Rice, who I think has been one of the signings of the season, alongside Palmer, who's been amazing. And I think we got a shout out to our defence, where we've been one of the best defensive teams in Europe, with having Saliba, Gabriel and Ben White. And I think those three have been amazing. And obviously with the new addition with Raya, which caused a bit of controversy with the Ramsdale thing. And I didn't like how that was handled, but I didn't like how people was giving Ramsdale the soft treatment, it shouldn't have happened to him or stuff like that.
They felt bad.
They felt bad.
It's because he was a character.
He was a character.
He was a character, and he was a presence. And
To be fair,
he's part of like the social media side of Arsenal.
yeah, social media side, yeah, I get. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and also we did see the flaws in his game. Like it was just a bit like he was a bit rash, and he definitely had that rash trait, and it was just not comfortable in certain games. And you could tell that he's not relegate. He came from a relegation club, because you see when it's under pressure, that's where he actually
What is
performs.
it's
Because you saw at Liverpool last season, that's where
he played well. He
he
played
played
well.
well,
Yeah.
and I think-
It's.
yeah.
Well, I think with that situation, it's been brushed under the rug because it's turned out to be the right decision.
no facts.
100% it was the right decision in the end. I mean, even when I feel bad for Ramsdale because which game was it? Oh, Brentford game.
Brentford, the 2 Brentford games.
Obviously, but that's players are out.
I know it's going to happen.
Match sharpness, and sort of being able to just fall back into playing
No, yeah.
football
I'm gonna-
is
yeah.
going to be difficult for him.
Yeah, I would exclude the 2 Brentford games because obviously, what are you going to expect? It's a goalkeeper. I think Newcastle. I don't know what they're doing with Pope, but he could go to a Newcastle. That is a team.
Well,
he's
that was
really good.
that thing that came out like 2 days ago, and
Yeah,
you posted like
exactly.
news to me
Yeah,
or
news
something.
to me. But I think-
I think Arsenal have had a sensational season. If you
No,
ask
yeah,
me,
facts.
I think as much as it's annoying, they're very present online.
Yeah.
They're very like vocal and I
We're a big
think
club. We're a big club.
you're a big club. They've got they're big-ish. They're big-ish.
No, especially in London, I think we're the biggest club. Like you saw it. Like if you was outside on the last day, you saw the amount of shirts, the Arsenal shirts out. We're a big club. But
It's close with Chelsea. They've won Champions Leagues.
how many times do you see a Chelsea shirt? Think about it.
It's just ugly top.
No, but how many times do you see a Chelsea shirt just out normal?
Dylan's a Chelsea fan, bro.
Cameraman, sorry, Dylan, but
Cameraman, say cameraman. You try and rub you out. Try and rub him out. Is that what you're trying to do?
No, but sorry, no, you get that.
Who? No,
No,
Arsenal
no,
kits are nice.
No, I mean, like, no, but I'm just saying in general, when you like go out, you don't see a Chelsea.
Yeah, but-
Okay, let's forget about that. But
I think okay.
yeah. But what was I gonna
I
say?
know. I think okay. Aside from who's bigger, Arsenal had a great season.
Yeah, facts.
I think I would give it an A minus.
Yeah,
What would you give it? Or
I'll still give it. I'm gonna give it an A.
A.
An A, because we
I'm not
played,
mad
yeah,
at
yeah,
that.
not mad.
They played fantastic.
Played
They've had
fanta-
89
fantastic
points
football.
is second highest
Second
ever
highest, yeah.
tally. And I don't think you can maybe be disappointed with
Yeah.
anything your team's done. You got to look at those games where you did drop points.
Yeah,
And I was
Villa.
at the West Ham game where
Villa
they
West
lost
Ham
2-0.
2-0.
That West Ham game was horrendous.
It was horrendous.
That was
and
horrendous.
It seems like these games always come home when we're playing at home at Emirates.
But the Fulham game was like the week after, and that was away, and that
It was
was
away,
crap.
but-
That was clearly a bad
It was
run.
a bad run, but I think even at home, I think we were quite like chilled and that stays are cool and like when like Zinchenko and Partey, I feel like at home, those two they can become too like. Obviously, it's good to have confidence, but I feel like they're cocky. They're quite cocky, and at home, I feel like you just got to be like just do your job.
The players maybe got a bit complacent.
Yeah. So that's why normally away, when you see Arsenal away, we perform so much better. You see the clean sheet run that we went on when he was away.
Right.
But yeah, as a whole, I still give Arsenal an A. Had a good season. Saka, shout out to Saka, who I think is a bit disrespected in terms of like the amount of work that he puts for Arsenal. And I think we saw at the Everton game how much of a big miss he was. But yeah, I'll give it an A. Hopefully,
Yeah, I'm not mad at the A. I think
Pep can
you've
leave.
got to look at this side and think they've got to win something big next year.
Oh,
And when
no,
we say
facts.
something big, we mean Prem or Champions League.
Yeah.
Because they've invested now. The money's been invested.
No, yeah, facts.
And the side, they're going to invest again. And the side, you got what, like, I think Declan Rice is world class.
Yeah. Oh, do you think?
Yeah, as a six, as far as sixes go, I think he's there.
Yeah.
Um,
But I feel like his best performance haven't been at the 6.
No, when
It's
he
been at
plays,
left
yeah,
8.
yeah,
I think
slightly
that's
more
where-
advanced.
And then I think we've seen him take the set pieces. We've seen
Yep,
what he's been doing.
And he looked good at that.
He looks good
But
at that.
what I was going to say is you missed that big play, that star player
That
factor
star player, yeah.
in games like Bayern Munich, especially
Yeah.
the away game.
Away, yeah.
And I think also Arteta maybe has to learn to. And listen, what do we really know at the end of the day? But
I think we'll
if you look at-
also,
if you look at if you look at the Bayern Munich, if you look at the Bayern Munich home game and then even the Porto game and the Man City game, and the second one at the Etihad. I think you look at that those games and think they've got to go for a little bit more.
No, I get what you mean, but
You like that's and I know you're not going to want to do the comparison, but that's where you look at Klopp on his rise with Liverpool. They went for teams, and they beat teams. They went to the Etihad, knocked them out of the Champions League. They went to the Allianz, knocked them out of the Champions League. The year Liverpool won the league, he smoked Man City at Anfield. You know, it's about. Next year, as a football fan, from a neutral perspective, obviously, I don't want Arsenal to win the league. From a neutral perspective, I'd like to see Arteta take it to teams a little bit more in those big games, because that's where he's going to win the league. He's not going to win the league parking the bus.
But I get what you mean. But in the big six, we haven't lost.
I know. That's good.
Yeah, I get what you mean with the big games. I think what you're talking about, with similar to Klopp, like taking it to teams. I think there's been chances where, when we are doing the sit off and we're attracting pressure, there has been chances where Saka, this is your time to
100%.
announce yourself. Not announce, but like do the big game.
Big game
Even though
player,
he's a
like-
big game player, but I know it's a bit specific.
Would-
But I want it to be at Anfield and away, or
Yeah.
City away, and I think we'll segue it to Foden.
Well, yeah, and again,
that's
just
what-
watching that
yeah.
Anfield game, people often compare him to Salah. Salah did that big game goal at
Yeah,
Anfield, stepped up and did what you sort of ask of a Mo Salah,
yeah.
or what you'd want from a Bukayo Saka in that situation.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's
it's
another
not-
lovely
yeah,
transition, Pat,
But it's not
into the
any-
next
sorry,
team.
Yeah, you can go. I was
Into
gonna say it's
Foden.
not Saka and Foden, but yeah.
No,
transition.
100%. I mean, you'd ask maybe. I think Odegaard's been
Odegaard, yeah,
sensational,
yeah,
but
but
you'd ask him to do a bit more.
Yeah,
in those big games. Take a
100%.
game by the scruff of the neck.
100%.
And I don't know if the players you're looking at, the rumour to sign though,
Or that.
are that player. But you might not need that player if you sign those players anyway.
Yeah, but
Who knows? We'll have to wait and
as you
see.
say, transition to City.
Foden, I think I understand some elements of the criticism about him winning Player of the Year. I do. But I think overall he's been sensational.
No fact.
The game where it really stuck out to me was the Everton game,
Mm.
where they looked thin. They didn't look good.
Yeah.
And he's just taken that game. Dylan wanted to touch that dog so badly, right? No, he's taken the game to teams, and you know what he's done? He's taken it by the scruff of the neck, like we were just
Yes.
saying. Like, let's have it right. He's stepped up in big games.
That Man
And,
United.
and I understand maybe not the big six games, or the Liverpool Arsenal games specifically,
Yeah.
but I think he still had a sensational season, and I don't think anyone else has got more of a claim to the Player of the Year. Maybe Rodri.
I think Rodri deserves a shout.
Rodri's been fantastic, and obviously
haven't lost a game, which is
A league game,
ridiculous.
a league
yeah,
game.
league
We lost
game.
to Real
Yeah,
Madrid.
league game, and that's ridiculous. And obviously, it's hard for a DM to get Player of the Year shouts because it's not the. I don't know. It's not what.
It's not the
Foden's-
sexy
it's
position.
not the sexiest position, but arguably it's one of the most important positions,
especially
in the Pep side.
at the moment as well. You see Arteta need like how crucial a player like Rice has been, how crucial Rodri's been, and then maybe how badly Liverpool need a top six, how badly Man United need a six that can just come in and sit in front of that defence, control the tempo for the team, and just turn over the ball, recycle possession.
No fact.
Everything that Rodri does for Man City, every big club and every club really wants in their players.
Yeah.
Listen, Man City, they've had the monopoly in the league now for best
Yeah.
part of a decade. And I think it will come to an end now.
What's your thoughts on
This next season,
What's
I
your
mean-
thoughts on the 115, the big 115 charges?
You know, it's similar. It's not good.
No.
And as a Liverpool fan, it hurts to see that might have impacted
Yeah.
how we've turned out. Because I know it comes up to like 2018, but it's obviously had a trickle-down effect on their later squads and what they do with the teams and the players, etc. But at the same time, like Klopp said, you can't take away what Pep has done with that team. It doesn't take away what Pep is doing with that team. It doesn't take away how Pep has made these players into, generational players. De Bruyne was not a generational footballer before he came to Man City.
Oh,
Before
no,
Pep
no.
came, Pep came to Man City, he was there and he's looking like going to be a fantastic world-class
Yeah.
footballer. But he was not the generational player. People argue that he's the best midfielder ever in the Prem.
Yeah.
Then you got Rodri, who could potentially be the best six ever in the Prem. Carl Walker, potentially the best right back ever in the Prem. John Stones, I don't think he is, but he's definitely
He's
in
improved,
conversations.
Yeah, he's definitely improved,
And he's
yeah.
had his shaky times, but there's conversations for being the best centre back, or at least one of the two. Aguero, arguably best striker in the Prem.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been loads. I think there's a bit of a thing around where Pep just buys players and. Or
Does
he
buy
just
a lot
has-
of players.
No, I mean, but like.
And
he
especially
buys
at the
players
start, to get it right, he was fucking about with them fullbacks.
No, but I think with Pep, he does improve. You can't lie,
100%,
you can't
100%.
improve.
No, that's what my point is. He
Yeah.
improves his
Even
players.
sometimes, most of the times, he'll normally sign like these guys that are 60 million, and to the normal Premier League fans will be like, oh, this guy from I don't know,
Yeah.
such as Bernardo Silva from the league, and
Everyone knew who he was though by then.
yeah, everyone knew
That
he was from
Monaco side,
from the
'cause
Monaco, yeah, but you can
Mendy,
see he
Silva,
took
Fabinho.
another step with Bernardo and other players.
100%.
And you can't deny his quality and
He's
him
brilliant.
being
You watch them.
brilliant,
He's a nutter. You watch
is a
them
nutter.
documentaries.
He's a bit tapped,
He is ill.
ill.
The way he gets excited over their football, the way it looks so robotic.
That,
And the one thing I would say as well with Arsenal and City is very structured
yeah,
in how they play,
yeah.
and it's maybe they're almost the prime representation of what modern football's becoming in there. There's not much individuality in their teams, but they are structured and they are performing. And at least with City, you're seeing the results in generational amounts of success.
Yeah, no, I do. What you've done to the Prem has been amazing.
It's a bit depressing though.
It's a bit depressing being an Arsenal fan as well. It's just been like, bro,
Yeah.
like, leave, like you can leave now. Like,
Yeah,
you've done
well,
what
that's
you've
how
done.
we felt.
Yeah, now it's our turn. But on and off, especially with the memes, you can't lie. Pep's memes are.
Yeah, he's
elite.
sensational. And
What's your favorite meme, Pep meme?
I don't know if it's a meme, but
Is it when he's run off the back?
the bike
the
is
back-
so good.
yeah, the back
I saw that the other
situation.
day. He absolutely. You know what's funny? When he was doing the interview on Sky yesterday, I was watching him, and all that came into my head was him when he like hands the bike to the
To
guy.
the guy, yeah, like he's gonna rob him.
Absolutely shit himself,
A
bro.
bit questionable, but
Oh, he's very
It was
racist. Oh, the normal people. The guy's he's a terrible bloke, probably actually. No. And there's definitely questions over his dodgy doctors in
Barca.
Barca, but
Yeah.
for another day, I think.
What is my favorite Pep meme? There's been loads. You know when he just like he's sarcastic. What was he saying in that one?
More than you believe.
More than
you believe.
Yeah. More
No,
than you
you are
believe,
so
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's all right. More than you believe.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as City A plus. Obviously, they could have won the champs, and then they've got opportunity to win the FA Cup against the rivals again. So if they do that 2 times in a row, plus
I mean,
doing a treble, plus going 4 in a row, I think, yeah, United fans, yeah, I can't lie, you're
yeah,
done.
long day.